Hello, hello. I don't know if anyone's here yet, so I'm going to wait. And I hope my chat works. My chat didn't work last week. Hello, hello. If there's anybody watching live, if you can try to put something in the chat, because last week my chat didn't work and I want to see if it works now. It's very lonely not being able to talk to you. I suppose that my chat seems to be broken. I'm very sad. Oh, wait. Now I can see. No, I don't want to learn more. Okay. I think I just have to pop it out. It usually can just live next to it. Okay, cool. Yay. Now I can see. I don't know what that was about, but I'm happy. All right. So we're going to paint a surprise, and it's a surprise to me too. Oh, man. No, I did decide what we're going to paint. I just haven't done like the sample. So we're going to paint it together and it's going to be fun. We've done this before. It's common because I sometimes forget or I'm too busy to prepare something. So we're going to paint like a Northern Lights kind of scene. At least that's my goal. And that's because I finally bought myself more blue paint. I haven't had a big blue paint in months. So grab yourself some blue and black and yellow and white. That should be sufficient. Blue, black, yellow, white. Maybe some purple, or we can make some purple if you have red. I'm going to start with blue. Why is the new one farting? I just got it. Okay, that's probably good enough. And I'm going to grab some black. And I got myself some more white too, because last time I ran out of white. That was a mess. Okay. And yellow. Okay. So we're going to work on our background, which is really going to be like the star of the show this time. A lot of times, I mean, the background is fun sometimes. Like if we're doing a sky, it's fun, but it's not usually the star. And then a lot of times if we're just putting a background in, like something like this, like it's just there. So I thought it would be fun to kind of approach it where like the background is actually the point of the painting. Caitlin, we're going to paint, I haven't painted it yet, so there's no visual for you to see. We're going to paint it as we go, but we're going to do like a Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis vibe. So we're going to start with blue. And let's see. I'm actually going to paint, you know what? I'm going to paint my whole canvas blue. We're going to start there. Let's try it. It doesn't matter what shade of blue. When I say that, it should be a dark blue in theory. I guess that's an assumption I'm making. I've never actually seen the Northern Lights. I've only seen photos and videos and things like that. And I believe you can really only see it at night. So my assumption would be that it would be some sort of dark blue. Yeah, we're going to do like the whole thing is like sky. And then we'll have a little bit of foreground, but mostly sky. So in case you somehow wandered onto this without knowing. This is going to be the last one for a while. I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. I'm having surgery this week, so I'm taking some time and chilling. And then also like just needing a break in general. I think that's like a thing I'm granting myself. So probably I'm not planning to do another class until like July. But we'll see. If I'm like super bored, then we can start back up. And it has to be freezing. Yeah. That's like, well, besides me not being a good flyer, and then there was a pandemic and all those things, but the cold is like one of the reasons I haven't been to see the Northern Lights yet. Because the cold doesn't agree with me. I don't regulate my body temperature well. And the cold does not agree with me. Neither does the very, very hot. I'm just not a happy person unless it's like 74 to 75 degrees. That's like my happy place. Indoors and outdoors. My thermostat is set to not, the air conditioner doesn't kick in until the house gets to 76 degrees. It doesn't matter. I'm sure you figured this out by now, but it doesn't matter like what direction you're painting in. If you want to paint top down, bottom up, left to right, right to left. If you want to do like a mushy, no rhyme or reason, that's fine too. This is just our base color. $75. Yeah. Well, 75 degrees outside is fantastic. I can exist in 75 degrees outside. Once it dips below 70 outside, I'm in a sweater or sweatshirt. But inside, like, I just like to be warm. I don't know. I just can't function in the cold. I shake. It's just not good times. Oh, background is when we talk about TV. Okay. So, literally last night, there was nothing on television. I was like having anxiety and I needed like a brain break. And so I went to like Disney Plus to see if there was like a movie I could put on, something I've seen already that was like, that I could just ignore but was there if I wanted to, you know? But I couldn't find one that I felt in the mood to watch. So I decided to put on, I don't know if anybody's watched it. It's called Big Shot. It's John Stamos plays a basketball coach who like gets kicked out of college basketball because he is a bad person, and then he gets a job as an all girls high school basketball coach. It's fantastic. I was expecting it to be like Cheese City because it's Disney. It's really good. There's only 5 episodes. There's a new episode every Friday. I would recommend it. We watched all 5 episodes in one sitting because it was good. But I think that's the only new thing that I have watched. Anybody else has any Disney Plus recommendations, like new stuff, like original stuff. There was another show. Oh, I tried to convince my mom to watch the Mighty Ducks reboot with me, and she said no. So I'm gonna have to be on my own if I want to watch that. But I don't know. Has anybody seen it? Is it good? These classes must be really weird if anybody goes back and watches them not live, because I'm really just talking to myself. And asking people questions who can't answer me any time outside of right this second. And that's weird. It never occurred to me until right now. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do now, I'm trying to just spread this real thin so that it dries. I think I'm going to kind of vignette this. It's on the someday list, yeah. So vignetting, I'm gonna darken the corners with a little bit of black. So I'm gonna take some black, mix it into the blue that I've got left on my plate, and make like a dark navy kind of vibe. So I'm just adding a little bit of black at a time, because you know it goes real dark real fast. Okay, and so then I'm just gonna go up into the corners and kind of darken them up a little bit. Again, really rough, like there's not a pattern here that we're trying to keep up. You can pull it across the top if you're feeling like it. And if your blue is not wet anymore, let's say you decided to paint top to bottom, and so your top is already dry, and it's not blending in like at all, you can go back in with some blue and just kind of blend that out. James the Giant PH, Stuart Little. Aw, I like ASMR. I didn't want to like ASMR, but it really helps me sleep. Like I used to do just like very specific sounds, but now I'm like kind of into a lot of different things. And I actually started to like the whispering ones, which is, they're weird, but I like them. I don't know. I find them soothing. Miranda, you can wind down with us. We're painting Aurora Borealis. What's the plural of Aurora Borealis? Is it Aurora Boreali? Are there plural? I guess there would be, like if you're talking about it over multiple days, would you refer to them as multiple Aurora Boreali? I don't know. Okay. I'm really starting to smudge because I really don't want there to be like hard edges here. This is just the night sky. There we go. And you could do the same thing on the bottom. I have plans for the bottom for a little bit of a foreground, but I am just going to darken the bottom corners and edge just a little bit. Auroras, but like by itself without the borealis part, I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think they could be separated. I don't know. The plural would be the Aurora Borealis is the specific. Huh. I'm just gonna believe you, Miranda, because you said that with conviction, and I think that sounds good. I'm ashamed to admit I only just started watching Golden Girls. I know. I don't know that I've seen, no, let me rephrase. I've seen Golden Girls. I never watched it with any regularity, like to be able to say plots and who's my favorite and who I am, but I've definitely seen it. But you'll have to let me know which Golden Girl I am when you're done here. Okay, cool. So we just vignetted it a little bit. And now I'm going to wash my brush because I want to get the black off of there. I have not watched Shadow and Bone. I've heard good things. I have no idea what it's about, and I haven't read the book. And I was told that I can't watch it without reading the book or books. Is it multiple books? I don't think I have that brain space to read even a singular book. But let me know if I'm wrong, and then I'll watch it. Okay, so I want to do the like aqua kind of part of, like I'm picturing like a bright green aurora borealis, but with like the soft part being aqua. So I'm going to take some of my blue, and I'm going to take some yellow. I'm going to take a whole bunch of white and mix it together. Ooh, that came out nice on the first shot. Okay. This is not aqua, but I like it. I can always add aqua later. It's 5 books, a trio and a duo. You can watch without it though. Okay. I might do that. Okay, so I'm going to just, now everybody's aurora borealis pattern can be different. They're usually like wiggly. You could probably Google a picture if you wanted to copy something specific. But I think I'm just going to freehand it and see how it goes. I think I want to do snake. I'm in a weird mood today, guys. Oh, man. So once you've got that in, you can do a couple different things. So you can kind of like pull up really fast from that line, and we're going to be playing around with that line more. So you don't have to worry about like how your brush mark is going in that line. That line is just kind of like a guide. So I'm like pulling up really fast, and it's leaving like lots of cool brush strokes, and I like that. Yeah, that's cool. There is going to be like a little bit of playing around here, figuring out what you like, how much you want to happen here. There is like a glow beyond this too. So for example, I'm going to take some blue and mix in just a little bit of this color because we want it to like occur in bands, right? There's all different like levels of glow, and this phenomenon looks different every time. So I'm just kind of filling this in. And then you could take some more blue and blend this down. Remember, we're painting light, so there is no right or wrong. You're making it up. Now, somebody who studies like sky phenomenon, I don't even know what that would be called. I guess an astronomer might tell me I'm wrong and that the aurora borealis can't look like this, but I don't care. So I'm just kind of taking what's on my brush, adding some more blue to it, and then just like pulling it through the sky. You can add some water if you feel like you need it to make it smooth. or more easy to blend. And you can have spots that are less blended, right? Like you can have these color streaks in there. I like that. That's a vibe. Okay, and now I'm gonna try to use the same kind of coloring technique where I'm just mixing what's on this like green that's on my brush with some blue, and then pulling it down into the green that I pulled up. You might have to do this a couple times to get the blend you're going for. I'm just gonna have that go off the canvas because I couldn't decide where I wanted it to end. And if you're blending it up into the dark space, you can take a little bit of black and go back over it to tone it down. If anybody like really knows that I'm doing a horrible job with this because it can never look like that, please tell me. Because I'm not looking at a picture, and I've painted stuff similar to this, but I've always done it from a reference. So we're just winging it, and that's kind of like, I think it's the best way to like mindlessly paint when you don't need to have an expectation. What brush am I using? I'm most of the time. Oh, you can't see that. Most of the time, if I'm doing the background, I'm doing a nice big square brush. Usually, this is also like that's a beautiful ombre right there. Can everybody just appreciate the ombre on my brush? There's something wrong with me, but that's beautiful. Like, if I didn't care, I would just let this dry and use this as art. Okay, the moment of beauty has passed. All right. So I think what I want to do, because I'm looking at it on the screen, because I can't really go too far back. I think what I want is I want to make sure that the parts, like the bumps that are bumped up, go highest, right? Because I kind of want the light to flow. Any tips with painting with oils? No, because I've never done it. I want to, and I will someday. I always avoided painting with oils because I have the patience of a gnat, and the idea that it wouldn't dry for me to then change my mind and do something else bothers me. But I've seen some people make some really cool stuff, and like there's also a really cool benefit to it taking forever to dry because you can go back in and rework it. So I don't currently have tips and tricks. Besides telling you to watch somebody on YouTube who knows what they're doing, which is not me. Okay, so let me get some more of this color so I can bring this up higher. I think it needs to be wider. a little bit more blue in some areas that I think got a little too heavy in the green department. Okay, I like that. This is really just like where you play around, right? I'm behind because I was still blending my background. What color is it? Blue and yellow and white. Lots of white. And just until you get a shade that you like. Okay, I'm going to switch to a round brush. Let's see how this goes. I feel like when I've looked at pictures of the Aurora Borealis, there seems to be like almost like a neon sign kind of thing where there's like a band of light that you could tell is the origin and everything else is just kind of glowing off of it. And so I want to try to create that. But I've never done that before. So let's see here. I think I want it to be, okay, I know what I want to do. I'm going to take some white and water it down a little bit and go follow that line that I created. And then kind of like fluff it out, like give it some width here. And it's obviously your like seafoam aqua color is still wet, so it's going to pick that up and that's fine. Okay. Yeah, I think just going back and putting some like extra bands of this to give it that like glowy vibe. Yeah, that works. So I'm just kind of like doing some stripes of this, but I'm not being overly concerned with whether the stripes are touching or if they're blended or what have you. Just kind of going in with some watered down white and playing around. But I think I like that. And then what I want to do is make a really intense bright green. So it's going to be a lot of yellow, a little bit of blue. I did way too much blue. Okay, let's go back over here. And you might need a little bit of white just to like help it cover some of what's going on here. Okay. And again, I'm doing this while everything is still wet because I like the idea of it blending in so that it's a little bit less harsh. So I'm going to go like kind of right in the middle of these bands here with this bright, you can't see that on the screen, but it looks really cool. So let me finish it and then I'll show you. Oh, maybe you can see it. Okay. And you can add this bright green in here too. I'm going to take some more blue and do what I did with the lighter green. I'm just going to add some of this in here. I didn't switch back to my square brush. I'm just sticking with my round guy here. Do I want to do anything up top? That's an excellent question. No, I don't think I do. But I do want to throw some in, because this is darker, right? Because I just mixed some dark blue in with this green. So I'm gonna like put it underneath here as like a shadow. Because I feel like when there's light in the sky, the area next to it always looks so much darker. Like you've got the glow, right? But then the area next to the light looks darker just because it's not light. I really hope that makes sense to somebody. It makes total sense in my brain. I don't know how else to explain it. So I'm just adding some dark blue with some of the neon green mixture. And from here, you can really just like play. I know that you guys probably hate every time I say that, but I don't know. I just kind of want to play. You know I'm going to add some splatter paint, right? Like that's a given. So and when you get like to a point where you don't have a ton of paint on your brush, you can kind of like, when you have this many layers of paint, you can kind of dry brush and it'll just start mixing and blending things together in new and interesting ways, like without water, without paint. I don't know. I kind of like it. Okay, I am going to go back to my big square brush because I feel like I would like this top area to have some more light. It's more of like a light whitish stuff happening. So I'm gonna go back to my white, my like watered down white, and grab some on there. I'm not gonna go up as high with the white because I feel like it would just be intense right at the edge there. Ooh, yeah, I like that. And then I'm actually gonna work back in with my round brush and just kind of like, I don't know if you can see, I think you can see. My square brush left all these little like square brush lines, so I'm just gonna go in with my round brush clean and dry, and just smooth those squared brush lines out of there. And you can like pull up into these vertical brush strokes because it just continues that vertical pattern. Okay, I like that. I do feel like maybe I need some more light stuff down here. I love you and your brain for thinking of something and just making it out. Aw, you're cute. I love you. Okay, let's add. I want to add some more light stuff down here because I do have a little idea for a foreground thing, just like the tippy tops of trees and which trees that we've done before. So I think it'll be fine. But if we just put black silhouetted trees on this right now, you're really not going to be able to see it because it's not light enough to see it. So I'm just going to add some more, some more light glowiness down here. And I'm just playing. I really think that, like, especially you folks who have been doing this with me with any regularity, like at this point, I think you're totally capable of this. Like the playfulness of just kind of like seeing what happens when you put paint on a canvas, and then knowing when to stop, which I honestly like only have that down like half the time. um, so that's kind of what I think we're ultimately working towards with like fun painting, right? Because I'm not trying to teach you like how to paint the next Sistine Chapel, but like having the confidence and skill to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna paint today and I don't have a plan. Cool. And not everything has to be mushy. You can go in and you can add some like really distinct bands of color if you feel like everything is getting a little too soft. I like that. Okay. Okay. I think I like that. I think I'm good. Oh, wait, no, that looks really cool. Okay. I don't know if you can see this, but I just took this like lime green concoction that I have, and it's the blue and yellow together, but I didn't add much white to this area. So it's still kind of translucent, and I'm just like pulling up from the bottom and making it look like there's this like green glowing alien energy happening. Aliens were not the goal with this painting, but I'm digging this green glow. So feel free to put that in or omit it if it's not your jam. Okay, nice. Now we're gonna splatter paint. So, washing my brush off. Okay, I'm gonna read the comments. So if I'm just staring at you, don't think I'm weird. Oh, you guys are really sweet. Okay. So if you haven't splatter painted with me, then I don't know where you've been. But I enjoy a good splatter painting. There's one area on this painting that's driving me nuts. Please hold. Okay. It still looks weird on camera, but that's fine. Okay, so yes, splatter painting. If you haven't done it, then I don't know what you've been up to. But what you're going to do is you're going to wash your brush off, but you're not going to dry it. And you're just going to take some white paint and mush it with your very wet brush until you get something that is pretty thinned out paint, maybe the consistency of skim milk. And then you're going to take your brush and hold it like perpendicular to your canvas. You are not going to fling it. I mean, you could, but it'll get everywhere. So if you have the space and you are really feeling like you need to throw something, you can totally do that. I'm going to flick it. So I hold my brush like this, and then I pull my finger across, and it flicks all of the fun skim milk consistency paint. You may get what I call snot boogers, not paint boogers, well, they're kind of snap peppers, where they're clumpy and looks like a shooting star, that's fine because it could be a shooting star. If you're not getting anything to come off your brush, then you need to add more water. And if you're splatter painting and then it's running and dripping down your canvas, you need more paint and you're using too much water. Okay. I'm gonna focus my stars and or snow up in this really dark corner, but they're gonna end up going elsewhere as well. And you could do a lot of this or a little whatever aesthetic you enjoy. I find this to be very fun. It is a little messy, but like, so is life. If you're not getting a little messy sometimes on purpose, then what's the point? And I'll just kind of scatter some throughout here. If you feel like after you've splatter painted, and let me like pull this closer so you can see. So those nice stars. If you feel after you've splatter painted that you would like a couple of bigger stars, you can do that as well. And you'll do that by just flipping your brush over and using the butt. So you'll dip the butt into some white paint and you could just say, add a couple of big stars. Try not to make a pattern unless you really like know a constellation really well and you want to try for that. But otherwise, let it be random. Ugh, love a good splatter paint. It just does it. Just cleans it up, finishes it up. Like I said, cleans it up like you didn't just cover everything in splatter paint. Okay, so trees. We've done these before. You can do them with a big square brush, but if you have a smaller square brush, that would be my preference. So I have like this guy. There you go. I'm gonna take some black. Oops. And what I'm going to do, if your painting is very, very wet, you may need to wait for this or dry it because I do want this to be black and not mixed in with anything. Mine's tacky, mine should be fine. And black will kind of eat a lot and kind of absorb a lot. But if you have like really light paint down there that's still wet and there's a little white in it, then you might want to wait and dry it. So what I'm going to do with my square brush, and you don't need a square brush for this, it's just like my preference. I'm going to put some trees in, and I kind of want them to like converge a little bit because I'm picturing, it's funny, I'm picturing like a wide angle lens photo where they would kind of converge a little bit, but then I painted this vertically, which wouldn't happen as much, but it's fine. We're going to go with it. So I'm just going to put some trees in here. And by trees, I mean I'm putting lines right now, so I know where I want my trees. I want the taller ones to be on the corners, and they're going to kind of tilt in. And then as you get more and more toward the middle, they're going to be lower and lower and lower, and then like straighter as well. And they can still be all different heights. So like you can have like a really short one and then a slightly taller one. Because like in general, trees don't grow to the same height all the time. So, but just as a general rule, the ones in the middle will be the straightest and the shortest when you're talking about like simulating a wide angle. Okay. So my silhouetted tree of choice technique is to take your brush, and this was why I like a flat brush. It's really good at like stamping. And so it's to take your brush and kind of stamp it on the edge like this, in like a triangle. So you'll start, I always start at the top and go down, because if you start with a really wide base, you only have so far to go to make it be narrow, and then you might have like a really awkward tree shape, especially since these are just the tops of trees. We don't want them to be super duper wide. And I kind of want them to be a little sparse because I want to still see the background through it. I don't want it to look like just triangles. There's nothing wrong with that look if that's what you end up with or if that's what you're going for, but I like to like have it be sparse. So I start at the top and I keep my brush turned vertically and I start stamping, and then I slowly, this is very small, so I don't know if you can see this, but I slowly, like as I'm stamping, start to turn it horizontal, and then I start to move out like this. So that will look like, and I want to do enough of these little stamps to kind of disguise this stick, because I don't want it to look like a stick, you know? So that's kind of what I've got there. And the taller ones, I'll have a little bit more leeway to have it be a little bit more sparse. And you can have some of the stick showing as if it were a trunk, like that's totally fine. I like that look. Because you can do, so when I say sparse, in my head, I mean like that, so that you can kind of see like there's bands almost of tree branch. And you'll still want to make sure you're keeping it all different as you go. And the lighter you press, the more delicate these little guys are going to be. And they can touch, or they don't have to. This is one of those things I've mentioned before, that like I want you to go fast because I don't want you to overthink it, but I don't want you to go too fast, because if you're doing this a lot real fast, they'll get really smushy and mushy and imprecise. So you won't have as much of that space in between to see this guy poking through. So it's a balance. Go fast, but not too fast, you know? And depending on the size of your canvas, like you could have made your trees taller than this. I just really wanted this to be the focus. But like if you were digging the idea of like a treescape and you wanted more of them, that's fine. I think the big thing with these trees, this style of tree, is to make sure that you're still coming to a fairly decent point at the top. I think that really, like a skinny point. No matter how wide your tree gets, I like it to go all the way up to like a little skinny point. So I just turn my brush all the way vertical and make sure the line is pretty tight up there. Trees are really fun to paint. Like, I think we've done quite a few different styles of tree now, and I think they're just like a really nice. And they're when I say easy, they're like an easy thing to like unbreak your brain too, right? Because you could just throw some color on the background. You could do like a fun sunset. You could just practice your blending. You can practice a new brush technique or see what two colors look like mixed together. Throw a background on there, and then just play with trees. Just make all sorts of different trees, different layers of trees. Maybe you could put little creatures in your trees. I really like trees. This one's a chonky friend. He chonky. See, I started that one from the bottom and it just felt wrong. All right. I think that's it, folks. If you're wanting for any reason to do something else to the bottom, I don't think it needs it. But if you're wanting to add like glow reflecting on it or like as if they were snow capped, you totally can. You would just wait for it to dry and do the same technique with some white or some white with like the light green mixed in, like a very little bit, just so that it's like, maybe there's a little glow happening. You could do that. I like the silhouette. I'm gonna leave it. But you would just do the same technique and maybe not all over, like maybe just really toward the top or just like pick a couple branches, a couple little leaf areas to kind of dust with some snow or some glow. Ooh, snow or glow. Okay. But yeah, that's all I've got for you. And I thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you guys were able to relax. And I will see you later, much later this time, but still later. Okay. Oh, don't forget to put it on Twitter, right? We need it to be on Twitter because that's where life exists, right? So please tag me in your creations. I can't wait to see them. Bye.